Gauteng police have promised to get more boots on the ground. This follows the release of the province's first quarter crime stats yesterday. Now, key takeaways from that report are an increase in murder cases and a reduction in sexual offences. Let's get more detail now about what's being done to try and solve these crimes. And we speak to the Gauteng Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Elias Mawela. General, thank you very much for your time. Let's start with the murder rate that's on the up in Gauteng. What's driving this?
Good morning, Xoli, and good morning to your viewers at home. Yes, the murder rate is a concern for us. There are reasons why we're having these murders in Gauteng. Firstly, the proliferations of firearms. It remains a problem for us. It is clear in our mind that there is still a lot of firearms in the wrong hands. Some are legal firearms, some are unlicensed firearms. And people, they are not using these firearms responsibly. Because even cases which we have generated, we find that some of the cases were committed by people who are in possession of the licensed firearm. But majority with the people without a license. And these murders are committed during the robberies. These murders are committed during the hijackings of vehicles. Yes, so that's what is driving our murders very high.
If the murder rate for these crimes are mainly driven through the use of unlicensed firearms, Commissioner, what does that tell us about the effectiveness of your intelligence operations?
Yeah, we do recover a lot of illegal firearms. If you can check, even previously when we were destructing this illegal firearm, during the destruction of illegal firearm, you'll see that the contribution of Gauteng as a province is very high because we recover a lot of firearms in this space. But the more we recover, the more illegal firearms come into the province. And it worries us most. But another new phenomenon which we have just discovered, even yesterday in the roadblock, we found more and more people, but I'll call them, law-abiding citizens. They arm themselves with the replica firearms, toy guns. They look like real firearms. And you ask them, what are you doing with this? They know, for protection purposes, because we feel not safe. You understand them. Those are the law-abiding citizens. But you find this group in Johannesburg Central who are using the replica firearms to can commit street robberies.
Robbery with aggravating circumstances, Commissioner. Then there is also kidnapping. These have also significantly increased. The understanding is that you said yesterday 1,000 more of these cases have been reported compared to the same period last year. Again, what's driving these crimes and what can be done to stem the tide?
Yes, robbery aggravating, it remains a headache for us in Gauteng. Mostly because robbery aggravating is constituting of hijackings, robbery business, robbery residential, truck hijackings and CITs. So all those subcategories are the ones who are contributing to robbery aggravating. But the main problematic one is the hijackings within that robbery aggravating. And then also the kidnappings are linked to the hijackings, because when you hijack a vehicle and then you take along the driver or the passenger in the vehicle, whether for 5 minutes or for 3 minutes, you take this person and then you drop when we register case of hijacking, we also add the case of kidnapping, because you took this person against his or her will. So we have observed that kidnapping...
What's driving this, Commissioner?
Yeah, the hijackings of vehicles in Gauteng, we have also seen that mostly the people, they hijack vehicles for transport use. The Uber vehicles, They're being taken, and then once the people, they arrive at their destination, and then they just abandon that vehicle. We have also seen that people, they hijack delivery trucks for the purpose of taking the cargo. After taking the cargo, they dump it. We have proven this thing based on the number of vehicles which we are recovering after being hijacked.
Yeah.
Hijacked from point A, and then you recover it 5 minutes or 1 hour later, it's been abandoned. But you'll find that the contents has been taken inside the vehicle and so forth. But there is also another syndicate which is hijacking vehicles for the purpose of taking those vehicles outside the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mostly the high-powered vehicles are being taken out of the country. And another syndicate, they also take vehicles for use in another commission of crime. Because when they go and commit crime, they don't want to use their own vehicles because they can be easily being tracked. So this is the type of hijackings we are having in the province.
Commissioner, I know it probably will be a difficult one, but the kind of precautionary measures that people can take, it's difficult to dictate or detect when you are possibly going to be hijacked. In fact, it probably comes as a surprise. So how can ordinary motorists protect themselves against such crimes?
Yeah, I think the more we talk about these hijackings and we are open and transparent, the more we make people to be aware. You know, not to be relaxed. People, they need to be security conscious. Even when you park in a secluded area, you know, at the back of your mind, think about your safety. Yeah. Yeah, because we find people sometimes they relax in dark alleys and then they don't care. They are so relaxed. But the more we talk about this thing, I think it will make the community to be aware that here in Gauteng or in our country, we cannot just relax and think that everything is okay. You are seated in your vehicle, people, they come and take it. And we must also talk about the types of vehicles which are being targeted. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then, Commissioner, let's quickly move to the issue of illegal mining operations. Those continue to be a headache for you. Just yesterday, before you delivered these crime stats, you arrested 30 more illegal miners in Benoni, and the ages 13 years old to 54. If you combine that figure with those that were arrested last month in Krugersdorp, how many people do you have in custody now who are involved in this?
I think we are now over 2,000.
2,000?
Yes, already over 2,000. It remains a challenge for us. You know, that place in Benoni, you could see that it's a whole village. It's a whole village. Those people, they've just established themselves there. They operate in that particular space. And certainly, it's within the existing mine premises. So they are running a parallel operation to the existing mine premises.
On Thursday, you also made mention that you're working with your counterparts in the SADC region, partly because most of the people that you arrest in these illegal mining operations are foreign nationals. What kind of assistance are they giving?
Yeah, you see, we have the structure called SARPCO. That's where the police chiefs in SADC, they normally meet and they discuss issues. And then over and above the SARPCO forum, we also have the bilateral meetings with the neighboring countries. But as you know, that Gauteng, we are landlocked. But because of we receive a lot of migrants from mostly countries within the SADC, and then we do have regular meetings with our counterparts in Lesotho, in Botswana, Swaziland, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. And with the purpose of highlighting some of the challenges which we are seated with here and requesting them that they must also assist us in mitigating those or addressing those things in their country so that it mustn't affect us this side.
So out of the 2,000, General, that you say is the totality of the people arrested in this, how many are South African nationals?
No, South African nationals, there are very few. They may even be less than 100. But most people are from Lesotho, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. And we've some few from Malawi.
And that is what South Africans are up in arms about.
Yes.
Because the commission of crimes, as they say, are committed by people who are not even known to be legally in the country, and that makes it difficult for you to track them down if indeed they are involved in crime. And talking about crime, let's again ask you the question as an update now on how many of those that were arrested have been positively linked to the rape of the 8 women in Krugersdorp.
Yeah, currently we are having 14 positively linked, and the work is still continuing, but we are happy with that 14. Even the NPA is convinced that we have a solid case against those 14.
When you say solid case, does that mean that your DNA gathering processes, all of those, have checked through? Because the understanding is that at times when you're dealing with the prioritized crimes, you are working in what is called the prosecution-led investigations. So how solid is your evidence against these 14? And are they all foreign nationals, by the way?
Yes, they are. You know, we have done an identification parade, and you find that one suspect is pointed out by 3-4 victims, so that it gives you comfort to say that there's no way that these 4 victims can make a mistake about this individual. So based on that, without even going to the DNA and all those other things, we are convinced that we have the right people.
And the majority of those who have been positively linked, you say that all of them, all of the 14, are foreign nationals.
Yes.
Where do they come from exactly?
Within SADC, I don't want to point out any country, but they are within SADC, and as the matter is being ventilated in court, I think their country of origin will also be revealed.
Commissioner, I can't let you go without getting an update on the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. When you sit at home and you watch what has gone on in the courts, this murder, it took place back in 2014. The pain and frustration from the family that lost a loved one, I don't think that you can minimize that in any way. When you reflect, Commissioner, around this case, who or which law enforcement agency between yourselves as police in Gauteng and the NPA are most responsible for bungling this case?
Unfortunately, you'll recall that that incident happened before my arrival here in the province as a provincial commissioner. And the case was also taken out of the province. It's been investigated by the team, which is reporting directly to the national commissioner. So it is handled at that level. Unfortunately, I never had an opportunity to can put my fingers on it. And since they are advanced with those cases, I think it will be safe for me to stay out of it, allow the court process to continue, and then we'll see where does it end.
But just as a career police officer, Commissioner, as a career police officer, when you look at the facts, when you look at the evidence collection, who should take most of the responsibility for the bungling?
No. Remember, I've said the case was taken out of the province. So I don't have the facts. I've never seen the docket. You know, if it was still investigated here, I will call the investigating officer, come and brief me. What is in the docket? What is the problem? And so forth. But currently, the investigating team, they are reporting to the National Commissioner, and they are also not based in Gauteng. So I don't have the facts about the case.
Final one. Let's talk about Babita Deokaran. That's the case that you have had to handle. Another family that's looking for closure. And yes, there are people before court, but those people, the understanding is that they were sent to go and commit that murder. Who's responsible for having sent them? Last month, you said, sit it right there, that you were going to give an update. Are you any closer to arresting the mastermind?
Yeah, you see, we are happy that we have people who are going through the court process right now. But we have been guided by the prosecutors to say, look here, for now, we concentrate on this, and the next phase of the case, it will be that and that and that. So for now, we want to focus on what we have right now, because we also believe that we have the right people who have committed this murder. And then once they are being dealt with in the court of law, whatever thing, additional thing which the court they want to ventilate, they'll say to us, now is the time that we can now go to the phase 2, whereby we deal with those who have handled the people who have pulled the trigger. But for now, let us not mess up the case. Let's allow the court process to continue, because at least we have those who have pulled the trigger.
General Elias Mawela, let me thank you very much for your time, and again for affording us the opportunity to sit with you and talk about these matters. Thanks indeed for your time. That's the Gauteng Police Commissioner, General Elias Mawela. Still